same time try to run a normal plenary, because there are always issues in the plenary that are somewhat controversial. I really felt very good about the way I thought the delegates and overall talked to each other this time. I think a lot of times in the IWC we talk at each other, but I thought this time we sort of talked more to each other about issues and expressed concerns about issues.
Some of the sessions were, as you said, sort of very, very temperate and calm and reasoned, but things exploded at other times, and that had some observers saying, actually, that proves that underneath it all, the fundamental divisions are too big.
Well, there are definitely some big issues here. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said it's all. No, they are. There's big issues here of lethal take of whales, particularly scientific research whaling, and so it's no doubt about it. And I think though we build those issues sometimes by not talking about really how you can utilize whales in a non-lethal way, and people have the right to do that and can do that, and how they can work together. Right now it seems like it's all or nothing, but I do sense that people know that going into this, that you got to make some concessions, so you got to negotiate. This is a hard negotiating process that's been set up.
And you sense that both sides might in the end be prepared to make the fairly fundamental compromises that they're going to have to make to accommodate each other's interests?
I do. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I do think that when it's in, I think people are going to sit back and look and say, what has happened over the last 20 years? Some whales have definitely started to increase. We still have some that are critically endangered. We have some issues that only can be resolved by working together. I think sea ice, melting of sea ice is an issue that, we need more data, we need more surveys, but those can be done a lot better working together, I think. And so, we work a lot with Russia, but we just really need to coordinated surveys, coordinated work, and in the end, I think the number of whales killed is increasing, and I think what we ought to be looking at this from even those that are anti-whaling is, how can we reduce that number? You may not get to zero, but how can we reduce that number and get science, base it on science, and that's not easy.
Now, some of the environment and conservation NGOs are at least endorsing this process to a certain extent because they share your view that in the end it might reduce the number of whales being killed. But others are very harshly critical of the US for indulging in this. They're critical of you. They say you shouldn't be sitting down with whale killers.
Well, I'm sorry. I think in the U.S. we have discussed this quite a bit. We have what's called a principals group, which is from the base of the White House down. We have an interagency group. We have a whale team that meets regularly. We spend enormous amount of time on whales. I mean, it's sort of amazing to me how much time the overall scheme of things is spent on whales. But I think we are at the point that we don't see that we are controlling the whales being killed. We see the number of whales killed increasing. We don't see that we are really, as a body, doing our job of both conservation and management. And I think this is a tough issue for the U.S. No doubt 80% plus of the American citizens are probably against any form of whaling. But in the U.S. we do have Aboriginal subsistence whalers. That's a way of life. It has been for thousands of years. So I think the U.S. is just willing to really, everybody seems in this body of 80 come to me and come to the U.S. and say, this can't be solved unless the U.S. takes a leadership. I think leadership means something different. The NGOs may think we don't show leadership because we're not banging the table every day, just saying you got to stop.
Exactly. They make the argument that if the US would use its economic and political muscle, it could actually force Japan and Norway and Iceland to shut down their whaling operations.
It hasn't happened for how many years? 50 years now, 20 some. And so I think that mechanism hasn't worked, and I'm not sure it will work in the modern days. Will this issue be elevated to the UN with type? I doubt. I think the body was set up to do this, and so I think the body has to make if we fail, then I think you figure out what's the next step. But I think until we sit down and make a conscious, hard, do a thorough job of trying to make it work, then I don't know why you just go to the next step. I think we have to do this, and if it fails, then what's the next step? Ministerial, whatever. Then you go there next. But I just think we got to reduce the number of whales killed. And I don't know if you tell me what the other game is. Status quo is definitely not working. So I don't know of another game right now to play except this.